Hey, welcome back to A-Aron Reacts, and we're back for Ren Suicide. Now, I just did a extremely emotional reading of Ren's comment about this song in the video. I'm going to include that at the end of this video, so we're going to jump to the reaction now, but I encourage you to stick around to the end. You definitely want to see that, but please note that because I did that, I'm already a bit wrecked even before I begin this. And so I suspect this won't be a typical reaction where I analyze, music deeply or maybe even the lyrics. We'll see how it goes. But, I think I'm just going to, absorb and feel and let you see my reaction to that. But I get the feeling I probably won't be talking a lot in this one because that just wrecked me. It took a big toll. So let's get to it. Guys, one other very important note. This video, as well as Ren's original video, is in no way, shape, or form condoning suicide, right? If you or anyone that you know is thinking about suicide or has any thoughts about it, please seek help. I'll post a link to some help resources inside this video. And please, support one another, help each other out. All right, let's get to it.
Through the cracks of the night sky, a light goes out on the other side. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Oh, treading on the tracks in the night time. It never really felt like the right time. Suicide, suicide, suicide. I'm so fucking lonely.
Wow, so the imagery here right out of the gate, guys. I know I just started this, but wow. He's got cracks in his face and through it, and it's talking about like the cracks, the scars, the emotional. At least that's what I'm getting from it when I see it, right? The imagery is deliberate in the way that he's doing that and the impact, and it's just showing the impact of the whole world.
At the right time. Suicide, suicide, suicide. I'm so fucking lonely beneath this. Narcissistic, can't keep a secret. Miscount sheep, but can't sleep a misfit. Some say trouble, but some say sadistic. Bruises my brother, one time or the other. My skin felt counterfeit, silicone rubber. Bruises my sister, skin pop the blister. Dig deep, resist the feeling when it hits you. Falling through the cracks of the night sky. A light goes out on the other side. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Treading on the tracks in the night time. It never really felt like the right time. Suicide, suicide, suicide.
Sick boy, bitten by a tech boy. I feel like it's not me, it's the world that's sick.
I'm so fucking washed up and seasick. Masochistic kid with a split lip. 6 feet deep, I can't eat, I'm nervous. Won't stay down cause my body purges. Useless my mother, can't keep in my supper. Skin so pale cause my cheeks leak colour. Truth is my father, you choose your karma. Draw for the sword, then drive through the armour. Falling through the cracks of the night sky. A light goes out on the other side. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Treading on the tracks in the night time. It never really felt like the right time. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Suicide, suicide, suicide.
It's hard to take off from the ground when your wings are cut. Your stomach burns when you're drinking from an empty cup. You know the entire ocean came from my tear ducts. I see the world through Fibonacci sequences and double Dutch. I guess there's some that's born lucky, there's some that's not. I tried to cut away my bitterness, hatchet job. I locked my youth inside a trunk, inside a pit. pickup truck, then dumped the whole thing over that same bridge the night you jumped. I think about that sometimes, vividly. What it felt like to look down and see tranquility. One sudden movement in a world of possibility. Only one movement to expose our fragility. I fucking miss you, and I miss myself. I miss thinking we were indestructible as well. I miss chilling by the pier cave and kicking back with Callum, Hugo, Sega, Justin, Stevie and the fucking lads. I miss missing that. I numb myself to close the gap. I never even call them up. The distance is my plaster cast. The truth is to the day you jumped, my childhood jumped too. But I still can't find that anger. All I find is missing you, man, I miss you. With all my rhymes, I picture running 5 minutes quicker, I'm right on time. I picture pulling you back over the edge and then we're crying, and holding you, my brother, and telling you that it's fine. Not the way that it worked, cause I was late like a jerk. There's not a day where I could find a way to break from the hurt. Your body missing, so we never got to wave to the hearse. I hope you're listening, I love you, man, I miss you absurd. Fuck.
Oh my gosh. Okay, first of all, I wanted to pause on this screen because huge, massive shout out to Creative Deploy. Because the creativity in this video is just on a whole nother level. The imagery, the cinematography was just masterful. I mean, what a piece of art. Really. And of course, Ren's delivery, his composition and music and lyrics. You know, he was even singing a bit. Wow. And just pouring his heart out. I mean, crying at the end and everything. I missed it. Oh my gosh. And just to play into greater society as always, and interweaving and just, you know, others are having thoughts of that and the impact and the fragility, and just there's so many themes here. Yet another masterpiece. And then he goes back to multiple pieces, Sick Boy, and you know, there were a couple of other references, and then also the piano progression at the end. That line, we hear the same type of thing building up in Money Game Part 3, and then I think that song that we heard in the chapter, so I think it was About Joe, if I'm not mistaken, did something similar. So, you know, that seems to be an underlying theme as he's building tension. He's so dang good at it. Okay, I'm going to leave this one here. Guys, I'm going to switch to me reading this, so don't go yet. Guys, I'm getting ready to react to Suicide, and I started reading the post that Ren did. I got about a paragraph in and I just getting very emotional, and I thought, you know what? Ren puts himself out there. I'm going to do the same. And so I'm going to include this as part of my reaction. And so he said, today I want to write something beautiful and eloquent, but I've been staring at my computer screen for the past 10 minutes blankly. So I'll just write, today, the 1st of June, is my friend Joe's birthday. I first met Joe when I was 8 years old. My friend Josh said I had to meet this guy, so we both walked over to his. It took about 10 minutes from my house. I was greeted by this kid covered head, toe, in freckles. He grinned at us, climbed onto the back of his sofa, and screamed, "Swanton bomb." Then front flipped off the top and landed right onto his back on a stone floor. Now, I'm not familiar with Swanton, but he lay still for a moment, twitched a few times, then got up, grinned at us, brushed himself off, and did it again. This was Joe. He'd do anything to make people laugh. He ended up becoming one of my best friends. He was there when we stole our first cigarettes out of his mom's pack way too young. He was there when I had my first kiss with a girl twice my size in the back of the 42 bus. He was there when I first got drunk, so I threw up in the woods after drinking so much White Lightning cider as we could. I was there when he did his first backflip on skates and saw him do a 720 off of the pier cave. That moment became legendary. Joe was the funny one in our friend group. He'd make us laugh till it hurt. No one had a bad word to say about him. It was impossible not to like him. Usually we put celebrities, athletes, and actors on pedestals, turn them into role models, and admire them from afar. The person I admired was Joe. Him and Sagar knew every word to the songs I'd write. We'd get drunk at parties and they'd be singing along as loud as they could. It gave me a lot of confidence back then. Sorry, it's just hitting me how close they were and how much this actually meant to him. On Christmas Eve 2010, I was sitting in a pub with Joe. He'd been feeling low after a couple of consecutive breakups. He tried to check himself into a mental health outpatient facility a few weeks earlier, but they turned him away because he didn't have an appointment. He turned to me and said that sometimes he wished he could just walk into the sea and keep walking. He said it in a kind of half-joking, throwaway comment type of way, then took a sip of his drink, walked over to the jukebox, and put Dig by Incubus on. If I knew that was the last time I'd see Joe, I'd have hugged him. Told him how much I loved him, how much I looked up to him, how much we all loved him, and I wouldn't have left that pub. I didn't know that, so I finished my drinks, said Happy Christmas, and left. 2 nights after Christmas, I got woken up by a phone call at 3 a.m. Okay, this is the story we heard in the chapters. It was my friend Ella. She told me Joe was on the Menai Bridge, a large suspension bridge connecting the main land to the Isle of Anglesey, where we lived. He'd been on the phone to her in tears, saying goodbye. He told her to tell everyone he loved them. I pulled out my clothes as fast as I could and started running toward the bridge. It was up a hill. I lived about a 10-minute walk away. I could run it in 5. As I ran, started dialing, then redialing his number. The line was busy, which was a good sign. It meant he was still on the phone to someone. As I got about halfway, the busy tone changed. It told me the line was out of service. I got a sinking feeling and picked up my speed. I arrived to the bridge minutes after I left my house. It was deafeningly quiet. I was the first person to arrive. I got there probably about 2 minutes too late. Joe's body was never found. Initially, we refused to believe he was gone. The Coast Guard came out that night with boats and helicopters. Me and my friends spent the next 10 days putting up missing posters everywhere we could, walking up and down beaches with flashlights, getting about 3 hours sleep at night. When you're walking up and down a beach with a torch when it's dark, everything looks like a body. We still haven't found Joe. As his birthday came around, I wrote a song, Freckled Angels, a song I dedicated to Joe, which I sang in front of his friends and family. A charity football match was put on for him, raising money for the RNLI, where I won 2 bottles of wine in a raffle. I drank them both as quickly as I could. Naturally turned to my friend and probably slurred something along the lines of, "This is the last time I ever drink." That was 12 years ago, and I haven't touched a drop of alcohol since. My first ever album, I named Freckled Angels, in tribute to one of the best people I ever knew. Wow. Skip forward for some years. I've been sitting on this song I wrote a few years ago. It always felt a little incomplete. It was going to be my next release, but I was dreading it because of this feeling of incompletion. I decided very last minute to do something about it. I sat by my piano and the rest of the song fell out of me. I hadn't thought about Joe in a little while, and the song initially wasn't going to be about him, but the words all fell out of me. I wrote and recorded a whole 2 minutes extra, recording each part as I wrote it. Tears spewing out of my eyes pretty much the whole time, and decided not to do my usual thing of perfecting each line. I just recorded every line as it came. During the campaign, I would be raising money for the RNLI, the group of brave men and women who spent hours tirelessly looking for Joe after the night he went missing. I'll also be donating 50% of the profit on all copies of the Freckled Angels album directly to Joe's family as a nice surprise gift. I will include links to the RNLI donation page below, where 100% of the money will go to support them. I'll be traveling to the UK later this month to make a music video, and have carved out a couple of days where I will travel to my hometown on the Isle of Anglesey to present the Royal National Lifeboat Institution with a check of all the money raised. Okay, that's clearly what RNLI stands for. I think that I'm going to link to this. And I suggest that you go into the original. Well, I've got the original video in there, and he has a comment that has links to it all. Do consider donating. I think I'll go leave a donation myself immediately after this. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Thank you much. I hope that you enjoyed this. That was obviously a very, very emotional piece. Please consider joining us over at a-aronreacts.com/Ren. Comment on this video. Let me know your thoughts. I definitely want to hear from you. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you in the next one. Thank you much.